Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and 2026 marks 125 years of dedicated service by the Australian Army and its predecessors. Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Charles Mohr and warmly welcome his family who are in attendance today. Private Charles Mohr's story will be told shortly by Lieutenant Angus Mohr from the Australian Army, who is a member of Private Charles Mohr's family. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Charles Mohr. Charles Mohr was born in 1888 to Charles and Rosina Mohr in Brisbane. Little is known about his childhood, but at some point the family moved to Toowoomba. Charles became a hairdresser, eventually moving to Dalby and running a hairdressing business there. In August 1914, Britain declared war on Germany after Germany had invaded neutral Belgium. In August 1915, Mohr volunteered for service in the Australian Imperial Force. He trained at a Nogra Army camp north of Brisbane. He then joined reinforcements for the 25th Australian Infantry Battalion, which at the time was fighting in Gallipoli. In early November, just before leaving Australia, Mohr married Charlotte Mary Luff. At the end of December, he departed Brisbane on the troop transport ship Itinus and sailed to Egypt. With the failure of the Gallipoli campaign, the Australian forces had evacuated the peninsula and returned to the army training camps outside Cairo in Egypt. Mohr and the other reinforcements joined them, and by early in 1916, the size of the ALAF had more than doubled. Mohr and the other new recruits trained with the veterans of the Gallipoli campaign and formed cohesive fighting units. The 25th Battalion sailed from Egypt to Marseille in southern France in March 1916. From there, the unit travelled north by train to the area around the Somme River in northern France. It was here that the battalion was to have its introduction to the trench warfare of the Western Front. The British objective was the ridgeline behind German-occupied French village of Pozières. Beginning in late July, Australian units had begun to launch attacks on the German positions in the area. The 25th Battalion went into battle at midnight on the 29th of July, 1916, and successfully captured the first German line of trenches. The second line of trenches proved to be more strongly defended, and the unit came under heavy artillery and machine gun fire. Having suffered heavy casualties, the 25th Battalion was forced to withdraw to its original trenches. Private Mohr was killed at some point in the battle. He was 28 years old. Mohr was buried near where he fell, but after the war, many graves were concentrated into military cemeteries. His remains now rest in Courcelette British Cemetery in France, alongside nearly 2,000 Commonwealth First World War servicemen. In the confusion of battle, Mohr was initially listed as missing. His father and his widow Charlotte did not have official confirmation of his death until August 1917, some 13 months after he died. Private Charles Mohr is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Charles Mohr, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.